touch that dial, because after these messages, we're going to talk about the Spider-Man burger.
Oh, yeah.
Welcome to Screen Weens, where we talk about food. I had the Spider-Man burger today.
How was it?
It was just a Whopper, but the bun was red.
That's perfect.
And natural red. Do you remember the SpongeBob episode Pretty Patties?
Yeah, I do.
It's kind of like that.
What was the fucking consequence of that episode? It turned their tongues like a different color? Oh, yeah. That's nothing. I had colored ketchup when I was a kid, and that made my poop different colors, so...
And then you're like, I need more! And you would just be drinking gallons of ketchup to change your poop?
No, my parents didn't let me.
Damn it. But you would have.
I totally would have. Yeah, I remember they had the yellow ketchup, and it was like, oh, that's mustard, but it's ketchup. It was like the best. There was also purple ketchup and green ketchup.
I remember purple ketchup. I never had it, because even as a kid, I'm like, I don't like that.
It's like science.
Looks unnatural.
Science has gone too far.
Pretty much. Hey everyone, welcome to Screen Weens, episode something.
Yeah.
We took a little break, and then we took a little more of a break.
Yes.
It's been like 2.5 weeks since we recorded.
Has it really been that long?
I think so.
It doesn't feel like it's been that long.
184 is the episode.
Kobayashi Part 2.
Kobayashi Part 2. Today we're going to be talking about The Inheritance, Kwaidan, and Samurai Rebellion. Mm-hmm. But as always, we're just going to talk about random shit and what we've been doing.
Yeah.
Thomas has been racing.
No, I have not, sadly. As much as I'd love to. But I do have a new car.
I assumed you had to get a new car because you were racing for pink slips and you lost your old car.
Well, as interesting as that may have been, no, my old car was just... It had a lot of miles on it, so it was time to take it out back and put it out of its misery. Not really. It's sitting in a backyard somewhere, but it's not. It's fine. Probably gonna get sold. I don't know. But,
$20.
Yeah. Sounds like a fair price. If you want to buy my car for $20, call me at...
email us.
Email us at 1-800-ScreenWeens.com.
That should be our email address.
That should be.
Yeah, what about, like, movies? Do you watch any movies? You reading any books? You been playing any video game?
Not really. I did watch a couple things. We went and saw Guardians of the Galaxy 3 together.
Yeah.
And I thought it was all right.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty high praise from Thomas.
I wasn't gaslit by the rest of Phase 4 of the MCU, so I didn't have anything, like, shitty to compare it to be like, wow, that was, like, the best movie ever. It's been, like... When did No Way Home come out? Like, 2021? So it's been, like, 2 years since I last went and saw a Marvel movie. And
you're so lucky.
Yeah. Well, it's all skill.
I mean, I could just also not see them.
It was hard for a little bit because that completionist side of my brain that likes watching everything, it was just like, come on, go watch every TV show. And after Guardians 3, I even kind of entertained the thought, but I was like, I'm good.
Yeah. It's fine. Yeah, you watched the new John Mulaney special.
I did.
I saw you log that, and it was like 5 hours after I watched it.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
I saw you had reviewed it, but I didn't realize it was...
It was like right afterwards. Maybe like a day, but...
Yeah, I had a friend come over and we watched a couple things, and that was one of the things that they wanted to watch, so I was like, all right.
Did you watch Exorcist 2 with them?
Poltergeist 2.
Oh, sorry, yeah. I knew it was a sequel that wasn't very good.
Yes, I had seen Poltergeist 2 and 3 first when I was a kid.
That's right.
So I was like... I think I might have seen the original, like, first, but I was, like, too young to really remember much about it outside of the there, here moment. So it was like, I don't know. But, yeah, and they had just rewatched the first one, and I was like, I don't know if this is going to be good, but I remember it being decent when I was a kid, so let's check it out. And it was not great. There's, like, some really interesting concepts, and it, like... I think that helps it stand out as a sequel, but there's definitely things about it that are like super dated or fall flat. So it's like, it's better. I respect the attempt, but I still don't think it's very good. It's probably where I would end up on that. I don't know what I gave it. Probably like a 5 or something, maybe a 4. It's probably more.
I don't think you even gave it a score.
I might not have, but yeah. And then I rewatched Evil Dead 2 because they had seen Evil Dead Rise, and they were like, "I've never seen Evil Dead 2."
No, wait, no. I think you did give it a 5. You're right.
Okay, so I showed them that. Yeah. Evil Dead.
They hadn't seen Evil Dead 2. Did they like it?
Yeah. No, they had seen the remake. They had seen Army of Darkness and the original. So it was like, I know it was very scattered. So it was like, all right, let's show you the must watch one. I mean, they're all kind of must watch aside from like the remake, and I guess you could maybe argue the new one's not much of like a must watch, but it's fun. It's a good watch.
Yeah.
But yeah. And I think that was it, aside from the Kobayashi movies.
Speaking of completionist stuff, I watched all the Evil Bong movies.
Yeah, I saw you were logging like... I didn't catch it.
In like a day and a half, I think.
Yeah.
I watched like 5 in a day. Because I had seen 1, and then I'd watched 2. And then I sat down, I'm like, I'm just going to do it. And I watched 3, 4, 5, and 6 in a day. And, 6 kind of tricked me, because I think 6 is terrible, but
yeah,
it's got, like, a little more going for it than every single one of the other ones.
You're a lot fresher than I am. I think the one I gave the lowest score was 5.
5's horrendous.
Yeah.
I think so.
Is that... What would you say has been your least favorite one so far?
Hold on. I did rank them. Let me...
Yeah, because I ripped off all the scores, but I still have my Full Moon Empire ranking list, so I at least know.
Which doesn't have Dark Angel The Ascent on it, by the way. I looked at it. I'm like, I wonder where Thomas would put this. I'm like, I put 7 at the lowest.
7?
Yeah. You saw 7.
I did.
It was the last... It was 2018's.
What are some of the things that happen in...
They're in a hotel the whole time, or something like that.
That rings 0.
Yeah, it's
extremely forgettable, apparently.
Yeah, EB gets out of sexy hell.
Is that the clown from the Killjoy movies?
No, EB's the name of Evil Bong. EB.
Oh.
The clown from Killjoy is in that, though. And it's just played... Robin Sidney plays, like... the, like, kind of mean love interest of the more fit guy in, like, the first 3. And then she just switches characters, like, twice.
Yeah, I don't remember.
But yeah, Evil Bong 8.
Yeah, I don't think I made it to that one.
No, that one came out last year.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, I gave it a 1 out of 10, but it's better than almost all the other ones.
No, I feel... because
the Ginger Weed Man, though, that's where it's at.
Really?
I mean, it's terrible,
mm-hmm.
but it's probably the second best in that franchise, because it's mostly just him, like, delivering weed to people, and he has a little, like, scooter, and you mostly just see the puppet kind of, like, doing this. And it's just like, it's kind of just like, okay. Plus it's like 40 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
There's a guy who has there's like a skater that the Gingerweed Man delivers to, and he has a tourist trap shirt on. I'm like, that's fucking sick.
Nice.
Yeah. So I watched those. I didn't watch the Ginger Dead Man movies yet. So... to round those out, I'm going to need to watch those 3. Because I've seen the Versus movie.
I must have really disliked 5, because it's at the bottom of, like, my whole Full Moon. Yeah,
no, Evil Bong 5 is...
Like, I put that shit below fucking Witch House 3. Like,
horrendous. I'm going to be honest, I don't fucking remember what happens in any of them, because... it's the same thing.
Yeah, they're all the same fucking...
Like, 6, at the very least, that's when they first go to Sexy Hell. That's when they introduce the Gingerweed. Like, things happen.
Mm-hmm.
They introduce things,
Yeah, Yeah.
8's funny because Darnell comes back. And it's like, wow. Darnell's the main stoner guy of the first, 4.
Oh, okay.
Who then just disappears.
The one who eventually got trickled down to and left by default. Or, I guess he had kind of been...
Well, he was the lead. It was him and Alistair for the first 3.
Yeah.
And Alistair got recasted every single movie.
Mm-hmm.
And then they just make Rabbit the main character. It's like, why?
Yeah,
the first movie's terrible. But there's a certain charm between that group.
Yeah.
And it's a dumb stoner comedy, but there is some charm in between.
Yeah, there was clearly a little effort.
And then it's just the rest's what the fuck are you doing, Charles Band?
Printing money.
So, after I watched Evil Bong 7, I was like, I need to watch something good. So I watched the Ingmar Bergman movie, Winter Light.
Oh, nice. I haven't seen it.
It was incredible. It was it's number 2 on his list right now for me. I loved it. It was fantastic.
Fuck.
And then I immediately went and watched Gingerweed Man right afterwards.
Nice.
We watched the first Tinkerbell animated movie. Casina Tay had been asking to watch them. I had seen this movie 1 billion times because my little sister watched it a lot. It's pretty decent.
Mm-hmm.
What else? So I had a double feature at the theater last week, and I watched the new Charlie Day movie.
Oh, yeah.
Fool's Paradise.
How was that?
It's terrible. It's so bad.
Yeah, I was looking at it and I'm like, this looks like a fun concept, but
it's really rough.
The trailer didn't really grab me.
Yeah, and I'm like, that's fine. There's 1 billion trailers that I think are terrible. But yeah, I thought it was terrible. But then I saw Blackberry, which is the biopic about the rise and fall of Blackberry with Glenn Howard in.
Oh, yeah, how was that?
Great.
I was going to say,
it's really fun.
It looked good.
It's really fun. And he's just screaming like Dennis the whole time, but he's bald.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Let's see, what else did I watch? We did, because Joe didn't see it with us, so we went and rewatched Guardians 3. I really like that movie. It's not my same issues. Most of my issues with that is I don't like anything that happens on that Flesh Eye planet thing. I think most of that, it just feels... It's where they have the Among Us costume, the 2001: A Space Odyssey costumes, and Orgo Core. I'm just like, what the fuck are we doing here?
Yeah, I honestly thought that they were maybe going to bring that back more so. I thought Nathan Fillion might have been a bigger character than he turned out to be in the movie, but
I finally watched. I'd been meaning to watch this for a long time, but have you seen Ghost Watch?
No, I don't think so.
Have you heard of that one?
It sounds vaguely familiar.
That's it was it was staged, but it was on the BBC on Halloween in the 90s. And it was we're going to discover if ghosts are real. And it's kind of a possession case in a house kind of thing. But it's all framed as if it was real, and it tricked people in the 90s. And people were like, oh my God! It's great. It's so good. And everything feels so authentic that your mind, even you're watching it, it's not real. But there's a part of your mind that's yeah, this would fuck me up if I was watching this as a kid, and that in the 90s I'd be like, no!
Yeah, I feel that.
And it's over the course of the show, they're getting calls hey, my TV's bleeding now. Not really, but hey, there are just things moving around, and it's kind of causing this more ghost anomaly to ripple effect throughout the country. It's great. It was awesome. The guy who made Ren and Stimpy?
Yeah.
John...
I don't know his name.
He's a dickhead.
More than that, but yeah.
Yeah, he's also a pedophile. He made a Kickstarter a few years ago for an animated thing called Cans Without Labels, and I had heard it was notoriously just horrendous. It's a short film he made. He got $120,000 to do it. It's an 11-minute short animation. It's so fucking ugly and so fucking stupid. It was so bad.
Yeah.
But then I realized, I hadn't watched a full moon movie in 6 days. So I finally got around to watching Baby Oopsie.
Yeah, I saw you log that one.
It's pretty good.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad.
Well,
it's
decent.
I liked it. I'm always gonna just struggle with Baby Oopsie's new voice.
That's hi, I'm Baby Oopsie.
Yeah, I missed the.
Hey, I'm Baby Oopsie. Fuck you.
Yeah, I missed the old one because it was just like
just a random guy that they found on the street.
Yeah, but it worked so.
Yeah,
well.
no, I agree. Yeah, no, it's. I liked it though. I was like, wow, what the hell? Mm-hmm. This also feels like a real movie. Wow.
Yeah.
2 weeks, by the way, until Subspecies 5 comes to streaming.
Oh, shit.
I might get a full moon, streaming for a month to watch it day one. If I can't, just buy it digital. Mm-hmm. Then yesterday, I went and saw Big George Foreman, which is a biopic about George Foreman, the boxer. But it's, funded by, Affirm Films, which is a Christian film company. So, and because George Foreman, after he lost his heavyweight title to Muhammad Ali, he had a couple fights after that and just got fucked up. And he kind of, in his mind, he saw a vision of God and he became a preacher after that. And then later on, he's like, I gotta fight to make some money to save the church. And it's it makes for an okay movie, but they definitely try to hammer on the religious tones of it, which is really funny because at the beginning of the movie, he's not religious at all. And they make a point to say that, but they're still trying. They're like, oh, better have his mom come in and say something about it. It was fine. The boxing in it is terrible.
Yeah.
It's obviously with movies like Creed, and there's so many good boxing movies with good boxing in it. Mm-hmm. And this is oh, that looks like they're just lightly slapping each other.
Yeah.
And then we watched it. Fast X.
Oh, yeah. Was it everything you hoped?
It was everything I hoped and dreamed of.
I'm glad.
We saw it in IMAX. And we were one of 8 people in it. The showing was not very big. Really? And I'm like, what the? And it might just be because, there were a billion showings that day. There were showings starting at 2, which is crazy for a Thursday, opening show. Mm-hmm. But we made Pierre and Hina Taylor were just yeah! And everything. It was it's so dumb. But it's so sincere in its dumbness, It
mm-hmm.
It embraces you, which is not for everyone. It wouldn't be for you, but
yeah,
I loved it. I think it's my favorite one.
Oh, well, I'm glad.
Also, Jason Momoa is the main villain in it, and he's insane in it. Mm-hmm. He's acting like the Joker. Literally, he's oh! There's one part where he has a bomb rolling through the city, and he's like, okay, guys, where do you think that you should go? And he has these 2 hired henchmen. And before they say anything, he's like, oh, did you just say the Vatican? Oh, you're evil. And he just starts driving towards the Vatican. It's just, I loved it. And then I watched Baby Oopsie 2 at 1 in the morning this morning. And yeah, I don't know what Charles Band is doing with his full moon releases. He's crazy. I don't know what he's doing. But so the first Baby Oopsie movie was split into 2 parts originally, 2 40-minute parts, and then combined into a movie for streaming. Mm-hmm. And then on the full moon features streaming service, Baby Oopsie 2 and 3 were just 4 new episodes, so 20-minute episodes. But then they were recut into 2 movies. So there's a 50-minute movie and the third one's a 40-minute movie. I'm just why? Why not
just make
an hour and a half movie?
That or just release it as a TV show.
Yeah, I don't. So the second one is it's look at all this full moon filler. Oh no, it doesn't have the end. It's because it's just 2 episodes, so it's just the full moon filler. The thing is, the main character in the Baby Oopsie movies, I don't actually mind her. She's and there's a new doll in the Baby Oopsie 2 called Frowny Clowny that I really like. Yeah. I'm that's the first time I've seen a puppet in a newer full moon movie that I've been wow, that's good. Because there are some old Puppet Master movies now. That's good! Like, Puppet Master 2, I hate. I like it more. But that has the flamethrower guy. And I'm like, that guy! Yes!
Yeah, no, Full Moon used to have some really good special effects artists before probably somebody took advantage of them all and they...
Well, even outside of the special effect, like, even, like, before they become, like, sentient puppets. Just, like, the design, too. I was like, no, this is good. Yeah, and that is what I watched, and I watched those, and... Yep. I've been reading a lot this month, but we'll talk about that in Read Weens.
Yes.
But, yes. Speaking of family, let's talk about the inheritance. Just kidding. Let's look at questions. I just wanted to do that segue.
Fair enough. Questions from Pierre.
We do have questions from Pierre. Question 1. I've recently started playing Breath of the Wild and was surprised at how much the rather simple plot kept me both intrigued and emotionally invested. Are there any times you've been surprisingly taken aback by a simple narrative?
Oh, yeah. I mean, all the time. Like, freaking...
I mean, I think, like, things like Harakiri has a pretty simple narrative, but it's just, like, the character work that's in that narrative is great. I think, like... I mean, Samurai Rebellion has a pretty bare bones, like, narrative. If you look at it just from, like, a narrative standpoint, it's all about what you do with those characters inside that narrative kind of thing.
Oh, absolutely. But, yeah, I mean, there's tons of, like, low-stakes stuff. Like, I remember at one point I found myself on, like, a decent-sized, like, Moomin bender, because they were uploading, like, the episodes on YouTube. And it's like, yeah, I don't know.
Moomin.
Wholesome.
Moomin.
Yeah.
Moving the Moomin. One Piece, probably the simplest narrative in the world.
It kind of starts off that way.
I mean, yeah, and like, that's some of the best, you know, like the first 100 chapters, pretty simple stuff, but great stuff.
And then it kind of like, yeah, the nice thing about One Piece, and obviously not everybody is into it, but it like gradually kind of gets more complicated as it goes along, which I think is perfect if you're gonna do a 1,000-chapter fucking series.
Yeah.
But, yeah, One Piece.
So good. I should catch up. I say that every week.
I mean, it's nice to read it and binge.
Yeah. It's the same thing. I'll just say this about Saga. I know we're doing readings, but Saga, if I was reading it, because they did monthly releases, I would fucking lose my mind.
Yeah.
As in, I would just stop reading it.
Yeah.
I'd be like, okay, I'm going to come back to this in 2 years. Because they would do 6 months, so they do 6 issues, so 1 a month, and then they take 3 months off. And they come back to do 6, which is great for them. And yeah, that's awesome. I'm not going to read that, though.
Yeah.
I was thinking about getting the single issues after reading the first 60, and I'm like, no.
Yeah, I might buy the volumes and read them in trade, but, like, maybe. I don't know. We'll see.
Question 2. Where has E10 gone? Did Thomas beat them in a children's card game and send them back to ancient Egypt?
I've pushed E10 dark within my bowels, so...
And he shall stay there until the light is no longer produced from our sun.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. I don't know, E10 might make a return along with the full moons, but...
31 days of horror reviews. Coming back in 5 months. No. It's not coming back. No. Thomas!
I might do horror movie reviews again, but it wouldn't... I don't know if I'd go with the E10 brand. Might have to jump it up to E12.
E12. And question 3. What is your favorite story about revolutionary fighting against an overbearing regime? Do you think its outcome was realistic?
Well, One Piece, but it's not
Vietnam
War. The Vietnam... Wait, did he say a narrative or a real life?
Story. Real life or stories, you know?
Okay, fair enough. Probably
get myself on a watch list here.
Probably like One Piece is like my go-to, but that's not done yet. We're about to really see like the seeds of that kind of come to fruition. So it's like, I mean, you could argue like on smaller arc scales, but probably,
I mean,
Lord of the Rings is classic.
Yeah, I think Lord of the Rings is classic. I think original trilogy of Star Wars is classic. Mostly normie answers. Zeta Gundam. I was going to say regular Gundam, but that's like, you know, you got the entire Earth against them. It feels more like a Revolutionaries in the second one, and Zeta.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe Zeta Gundam. Kaji fighting against all of humanity.
There you go. I feel that.
Samurai Rebellion!
That was a rebellion.
That was sick. I mean, are any of these things realistic? Not particularly, but I don't give a shit. So, yeah. Thank you for the questions, Pierre.
Oh, that was it.
Yeah, that was it.
I see.
I was thinking about saying another thing, but then I decided, no.
Ah.
All right. Are you ready?
Yes.
All right. Let's talk about The Inheritance, which I just finished 40 minutes ago.
Nice. Yeah.
Really grimy movie.
Yeah.
Know? Like, I've noticed that Masaki Kobayashi, like all his movies are just kind of gross. Like about gross people or people being surrounded by grossness. But man, Inheritance is gross.
Yeah, usually at least there's like at least some virtue you can grab onto, but in this movie it's mostly just a lot of awful people trying to get a lot of money. So the basic premise of Inheritance is
a dickhead is dying.
Yeah, this old rich guy is dying, and he's basically like hired different people. He's like, all right, I've got 3 kids out there, and I want you to go find them, but don't tell them they're like inheriting my fortune or anything, because I just want you to check them out and tell me about them, and if I deem them worthy, I will give them a slice of the pie. But until then, I don't know. It's probably some of it's going to my wife, and then I'll donate some of it to like a foundation or something. So like everyone's trying to like find a way to get the money. Like one of his daughters, like basically all of his children are estranged and been adopted by like different families. One of them, like the sister finds out before like the actual daughter does and like kills her and tries to like hijack her identity so she can get the money. Then there's also like this one foundation that's basically trying to stir the pot in the wrong direction. That way they can like funnel all the money to their fake organization.
Yeah, they're like, we're going to make an organization, set us up for life with, you know, posh jobs that we don't have to do anything. So we just need to make sure none of the money goes to anyone.
Basically. And yeah, and
one of the daughters is dead. Like there was a child who died, and then the son is just like kind of I think he's also pretty problematic, but he might be one of the sadder cases because he's like, you're a product of your environment. He's like, why would you get any of the money? I didn't raise you. I'm like, yeah, that's your fault, you fucking dickhead.
No, definitely. And it's just like, yeah, it's definitely like a sad movie with a lot of like, just like, oh man, what could have been's almost.
But then you actually, this is probably the movie with maybe the most satisfying ending. Because like the one person in the movie you're rooting for wins.
Oh yeah.
And wins big, you know, the like assistant to the president of the company, the guy who's dying. She's just trying to be helpful. She's kind. She's hot. But she's the one who finds like the son, and she's the one that's constantly like taking care of the president, and she's being trying to be used by pretty much all of the family and all of the different workers. But she's impregnated by the president, and she tells him that. And he's like, oh, don't worry, I'm going to set you up. I'm going to put you as an heir. And then, so she's going to get a third of it. But then, jump to the end of the movie. He dies. And then afterwards, it's revealed that, like, the little girl that they had was actually just, like, a random child, or it was the wife's real daughter. It wasn't his heir.
Yeah.
And she had done this, so she's going to lose all of her inheritance. So everything's going to go to the main character.
Yeah.
And then it cuts to her being like, yeah, the kid's dead. It's like, is the kid ever real?
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, I think it works either way, but
yeah, they definitely plant a lot of seeds for, like, was the kid real? And if it was real, was it even his? Because she did, like, sleep with her boyfriend before breaking up with him. And it's like,
yeah,
what are you doing there? Trying to get pregnant before you go?
Yeah.
But, I don't know. But clearly she didn't end up having... Or, did she say that the kid was born and died shortly after?
Yeah, shortly after.
Yeah.
But she said that, so it could have just been a lot.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter. It's like, maybe she had been through enough. She can do whatever she wants.
All right. Yeah.
So she gets the whole 300 million yen inheritance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's like, hell yeah.
Yeah, good victory. But yeah, this one's pretty good. I feel like a lot of, like, I don't think I could sell the average Kobayashi movie to, like, a lot of people, but I feel like this one I could probably get a couple people into.
I think I'm actually on the opposite. I like this movie quite a lot, but I don't know. I think the, like, overbearing griminess to it would, like, I feel like most, like, regular people would just turn it off. I think there is, like, an investment you put into it, and it does bear fruit kind of thing. But yeah, I also think it's pretty slow. I like that it's slow. I like that I like this movie a lot. I like, spoiler, I like all three of these movies a lot. But I don't know. I think I could probably sell people on, like, Harakiri or Samurai Rebellion over, like, this. I guess depending on, like, more contemporary stuff, like, this is based more.
I feel like I could sell this to, like, a lot of, like, Tarantino, Scorsese-esque kind of film.
I guess that's fair, too. Yeah.
But you could also sell, like, Samurai Rebellion and stuff like that.
It's like, you've seen Kill Bill?
Yeah.
Now, do you want to watch a good movie? No, I haven't seen Kill Bill.
Kill Bill's good, but, like, I mean, I'm not gonna go as far to say that it's, like, too derivative of, like, these older films. It's obviously, like,
I haven't seen Lady Snowblood. I don't know if you've seen it.
No, I haven't either, but that's the one I hear it's very inspired by, so I'd have to... But I can certainly say the soundtrack is just, like, fucking Ennio Morricone's, like, old scores reutilized, so, which he did again in Inglourious Bastards, and I was like, alright, I can maybe allow you reusing an old film soundtrack for your new film once, but don't do it twice. What the hell? But yeah,
but it's like, yeah, like, you know, he's made enough. I guess this movie, or like some of his samurai movies, are pretty similar to, like, he makes a lot of, Tarantino's made multiple, like, cowboy movies, right?
Oh, yeah.
Cowboy movies are just samurai movies, but less good.
Usually the really good cowboy movies tend to have some root in samurai movies. Yeah. So, I mean, even fucking, like, the Dollars trilogy, I mean, that started off fucking...
yeah. And it's just, is it Yojimbo?
Yeah,
I always forget if it's Sandro or Yojimbo, which is just significantly worse, too.
Yeah.
But that second one, man, that's for a few dollars more, that's a bang.
For a few dollars more, and The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly are both really good. So. And I liked Fistful of Dollars for a really long time, and then I watched Yojimbo, and it's just like...
this is better.
Oh, man, Yojimbo. Yeah, it's just so much better. I don't know, because it's like... I think the thing that sells and puts Yojimbo over the top for me is, like, sort of the elevation or the escalation of tension when, what's the actor's name? The one who's in The Human Condition and most of the movies we watched.
Tetsuya Nakadai?
Yeah.
The gunfighter guy?
Yeah, when Nakadai has, like, the gun, and it's like, oh shit, it doesn't matter how good of a swordsman you are, like, this guy's got a fucking gun. Like, he's a threat.
Like, I think Clint Eastwood is fine, like, at acting and stuff, and he has some good performances, but, like, Toshiro Mifune is like one of the best to ever do it, you know? What the fuck? That's like...
And they're too complete.
Have you seen the meme that's like hydrogen bomb versus coughing baby?
No, I haven't.
Okay. Well, that's kind of how that feels to me.
Yeah, because it's like, I mean, Clint Eastwood in those movies is just very one note for them. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
But Toshiro Mifune displays like a wide array of emotions, whether he's being boisterous and laughing at the competition and to like shame them or whatever, or whether he's scolding his students because they think that the like fucking Merc he just performed is super cool, and he's like, no, it's not cool. I just took somebody's life, god damn it.
I do like watching The Inheritance, though, going back to the movie we're talking about. And I really like Nakadai in it because he's really grimy, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like, going off of the other movies we've seen him in, it's like, he's gonna be nice, he's gonna be great, he's gonna be good. It's like,
yeah, I saw him, my face lit up, and
I was like, yes! And then he immediately is like, I'm gonna do good, and then he immediately just turns on everyone.
It took me a little while. I was like, is this guy an idiot, or is he trying...
Yeah.
I think he's a little bit of both.
Well, because he's trying to play too many fields, you know?
He's like...
He wants it all.
To bring up It's Always Sunny again, he's like Mac in that episode where he's like, I'm playing both sides, and like, stop telling us that, like...
Yeah. He keeps having the meeting with Sadeo, I think, the wife. And she's like, stop having meetings with her!
Yeah, he's like having meetings with the wife, his like executive partner who wants to start the foundation, the daughter who like isn't really the daughter, but the person who murdered their sister, and it's just like...
What's happening?
He's all over the place.
Yeah, there's, you know, I really like that main character. I think she has a great performance in it. Movie kind of made me feel bad the whole time. It's just kind of it's a downer, like most of these. But I really like this one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's got kind of like some like Dogville vibes too, almost.
Yeah, it's like overbearing, and it's, you know, talking about, I don't know, immediately how like money or even the thought of money can corrupt people.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
But yeah, and I thought it was pretty good. I think that you would probably give this like an 8 out of 10. I
think so. I think you're sitting at a 7.
Oh no.
Oh, 8.
Yeah.
40?
4. Yes.
4. This is the first 40 out of 10.
It's 4 times better than the average movie.
Are you saying the average movie is a 10 out of 10? Well, to us it is, because we've been watching Kobayashi, baby!
Well, yeah, of course. I mean, I'm one of those people that if I enjoyed a movie, it's an automatic 10.
The thing is, like, I tried, you know, I hate on those people, but I'm like, man, imagine if I liked everything I watched that much. I'm watching Evil Bong 5, I'm just like, whoa! EB's saying some random shit, and there's a bunch of random racism. Yeah. Do you want me to buy you one of those badass dolls?
No. I'm good. Thank you.
They're real. I didn't think they were like you could actually purchase them. I'm like, I wonder if the one that's just a racial slur is a real doll.
No, it is. Yeah. No, they market like all of that.
Yeah, it's gonna be it's gonna arrive at your house tomorrow.
No, please no.
It's like, I want to get, you know, I want to support artists. I want to be like, I should get a Full Moon shirt, but I'm like, I'm not gonna.
I've seriously entertained the thought of like getting like maybe like a couple of the Puppet Master ones, because I saw that they brought back like in print like the old ones that I used to see like the fucking trailers for on the VHS as a kid. So it was like, oh, but yeah, it was like, oh, Pinhead, Blade, and like Torch would be kind of cool. Oh, 6-shooter.
6-shooter's so sick.
Yeah,
I think what I want to do is, I was doing those tier lists. I think I want to do Puppet Master Puppet tier lists.
There you go.
So 6-shooter, top. Yeah. Leech Woman, bottom. I think Leech Woman has, you know, she looks different throughout the different ones. So I think it would depend on which movie, I guess.
Yeah.
Giant Demon Puppet from 5. It's got to be top tier. I love that fucking stupid puppet.
Good. Pretty good. Blade's like a solid, like...
Blade's like A, you know? Yeah. Blade's a classic, but there's, you know, 6-shooter is cooler.
Yeah.
What about in, like, Curse of the Puppet Master, when, like, the guy turns into the tank? Just the head?
Yeah. It's a puppet. Counts as a puppet. Yeah. But yeah. Inheritance.
Good movie.
Yes.
Great movie. Even. Let's talk about Kwaidan, which I was like, this movie fucking rules. And then I think the fourth one isn't very good. I think it's fine.
Which one was
the fourth story is the shortest story. Because it's the big story, the third one, is about the blind musician who plays the biwa. And they take his ears. But then the fourth story starts. I'm like, there's only like 20 minutes left. I'm like, what's even the point? And it's about the ghost that's in like the cup. Did you like that one?
I liked it for the absurdity of the concept.
Yeah, I didn't mind it, but I just feel like it really didn't even kind of fit, you know? Like,
yeah, it's really weird, especially because that's the one with the really, like, meta ending where it's like, some authors just end their stories partway through.
Yeah, and then they like, where's the author? And he's in the tub.
Yeah, and it's just like...
It's like, what's happening? I mean, like, I think the story itself, I think that it's fine. And it's like, maybe it would be better... like third, and they had saying save the big one for last, but it's just, I think the first three are all like incredible. I love them. I'd say I generally liked them all. I even liked that last one minus the weird meta part and the resolution. I would have even been fine had it just like ended there and they didn't really like call too much attention to it, because it'd be like, you'd still be like, well, what about that fucking date? But then you could just be like, whatever. He slashed first, so I guess this scabbards took care of him. But, yeah, I generally liked them all. I would definitely say, though, I think they could have maybe done a little less, like, ambience and like mood setting with like the long shots in this one. Like, I think if you trimmed them each down just like a few seconds, you could have significantly shortened the runtime of this movie. And I think that like, I think in reality, or not reality, in my opinion, this movie would have been like maybe better had it just been the three and they were like trimmed down a little just with those like, not saying like completely take out long shots and stuff, because I mean obviously they do serve like a pacing and tension purpose, but like just it could have been trimmed down a little. See, I really like most of the long shots, and I really like the way that like the sets are built, where it feels like it's more like a play. Like everything has the weird surreal backgrounds. There's like eyes in the back. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing?
That stuff is great.
It made me feel kind of sick. Like, I'm like, this is weird. Yeah. This is making me feel weird.
I loved it. It reminded me of
I did
shot
too.
From Francis Ford Coppola's Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Yeah, I get it.
That kind of stuff.
But honestly, I think I'm fine with 3-hour movies. Like, we just watched 3 of them. But I'm like, do I feel like this anthology kind of works together? Like, do they uplift the other stories? And I honestly think what they could have done as well is take out the blind musician. That's a movie. Because it's already like an hour and 10 minutes. It's already like pretty much its own film. And then the other 3 can be an anthology.
I thought it worked with... Because I found that there was like the common motif that each one of them kind of had like sort of like 2 or so bodily functions that they would focus on. Like the first one was like hair. And I want to say there was something else. But... And then the second one was... the snow one. So that one was like...
That one was great.
Yeah, I really liked that one.
With Nakada.
Probably my favorite.
Yeah, I think so too. I honestly think...
And then probably the third one was my second favorite.
Yeah, the first 3, I really do think they're all bangers. And the fourth one, I think is fine. It's just... It's so frustrating when something like this happens, though, when I'm like, yes! Oh, that was fine. that was good. But it's just like, I was so high on all these. I'm like, I'm so excited. This will be a fun little end cap. And I was like, yeah, that was good. But, that first one. So, quick run through the first story. A guy is poor. His wife is poor. He leaves his wife so he can become rich. He marries into a rich family, and he goes on little adventures, but then he realizes, only person I've ever truly loved is my first wife. So he goes back to her.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, oh, I'm so happy to be here. And she's like, oh, I was waiting for you. But it's like really weird because the room she's in looks fine. It looks great. But all the surrounding rooms and the property look disheveled and abandoned.
She keeps making comments like, oh, the dawn will only last so long. And it's like,
what the fuck does that mean?
It's like, gee, I wonder what that means.
Yeah. It's like pretty obvious, but it's still effective because then you see he wakes up and it's like, oh, she's dead. She's a skeleton. She's been dead a long time. Yeah. And he can't get out. And then the hair starts attacking him because that was a big thing about her. She had beautiful black silken hair. Mm-hmm. And as he's trying to escape, he's rapidly aging. And pretty good too. It looks good. It looks, I was like, oh no, get out! I was like, no, this feels like what I feel like when I wake up every morning. I look in the mirror, I'm like, oh no, I've rapidly aged.
But yeah.
And it's just like, yeah, that's what you get, you dickhead.
I low-key kind of agree. I didn't, to a certain extent feel sympathetic for him, but it's also like, dude, you made your bed here. Yeah, but I feel bad for the wife mostly.
Yeah, it's like, the things you'll do because of this overbearing burden that poverty has on you. I get it, but you are abandoning another poor person and the person you supposedly love for this goal.
That's also kind of another motif. Is men making mistakes, which kind of results in them getting their comeuppance throughout.
It's so sad in the second one, though, because he's just I just wanted to share a secret with my wife.
I know.
It's man, he didn't even do anything wrong in the first place.
It almost an evil seemed ghost. His character didn't remember the part where he was supposed to forget it.
Well, So the second one, Tatsuya Nakadai and I don't think it's his. I think it's just his coworker. They're traveling through the snow. This looks great, by the way. I think this also looks the best too.
In the sky.
They're going through heavy snow through the forest to deliver firewood or some shit. But the boat is on the other side of the river, and they're gonna have to stay the night. So they get into this little boathouse, and it's pouring. The blizzard's pouring down, and the other guy dies. And then Tetsuya Nakadai turns around. And he's like, what the fuck? And there's a lady that's like, I'm a ghost. Ooh. It's kind of creepy.
Yeah.
This movie's really effective in its eeriness.
Yeah.
And she's like, I'm gonna kill you.
Yeah. She blows ice on the one guy and then turns around and she's basically like, hey, you're pretty cute. I'll let you live, but you gotta promise not to tell anyone.
If you ever tell anyone, I will kill you. And then she just runs out the door.
Yeah. And then not too long later, after he recovers a little bit, he meets
a beautiful young maiden.
Mm-hmm.
And I also didn't think it was her. I was like, that lady I thought they were just going for oh, she looks kind of similar. It's the ghost lady.
Yes.
But they have a happy family. And it's and they have kids, and then one night he's making some sandals, and he looks up, and the lighting is kind of darker than usual, and just the angle, and he's like, whoa! You remind me of this ghost lady I had a dream about. That's the other thing, is he honestly can't even, and I believe him when he says, I have no idea if it was even real. It might have just been a dream. And it's man.
Yeah.
Because he's there was this lady who, killed this guy in my dream, and then she's like, oh, I'm gonna kill you if you ever tell anyone. She's like, I told you not to tell anyone. And then she doesn't kill him, though.
Yeah, she's
in love with him,
Yeah. If I just wanted to reach in and be shake him by the shoulders and be like, dude, number one, apologize, and if that doesn't work, then maybe try a loophole where it's I didn't tell a soul.
You're a ghost.
You're the ghost who told me not to tell anybody.
You already had this information.
Technically, nobody knows.
But it's also he's telling the story, not looking at her, because if he was looking at her, she's like this.
Yeah, just. Then he looks over at her and he's like.
And then she stands there. You told someone.
And then he's like, oh, fuck.
And then she decides not to kill him. And then she runs through the door.
Yeah, and then he puts her shoes out there, and then she takes her shoes, and it's the end. Sad.
That one's probably sad, yeah. Pretty. And the third one is a blind musician man who's like he's like a helper at a monastery. He's like a servant there. He just kind of does. He's blind, so they're giving him food and stuff while he just kind of cleans and like kind of keeps groundskeeper. That's the word I was looking for. Mm-hmm. But throughout the night, one night he's like, "Oh, someone's here," and it's like this ghost of a samurai. He's like, "Quick, you have to come with me and play music." Yeah, and he's like, "Okay, sounds good." Because he can't see them. It's like, oh, I love playing music. No, there's a lord? Sure. Yeah. He's like a nice guy. He's just like, yeah.
Yeah, because they're basically like, because they come from this specific, like, dynasty tragedy that ended in a big, like, sea battle. And he's basically like, I hear you do a really good basset telling of that famous sea battle. Why don't you come tell it to me and the not ghostly lords over here? And he's like, yeah, okay. He's like, but you can't tell anyone.
It's like, okay.
Yeah, okay. So basically everyone and all the other people at the monastery are like,
why do you look so like he's sleeping throughout the whole day, and every time he wakes up he's just getting more ghostly. He's like, I'm fine, guy.
Yeah, and they're like, where are you going at night? He's like, I'm just taking care of menial tasks. Don't worry about it. And they're like, well, we're going to worry about it. So then they end up sending a couple guys to tail him one night. And it's like,
we see just like these fires, these like giant flames like floating around. They're like, what the fuck?
Yeah, and they find him in a cemetery. And they're like, God, get him. We got to get this guy the fuck out of here. So they take him. And he's like, no. And they're basically like, all right, well,
don't do that again. No,
you're being haunted.
You're cursed, yeah.
So we're gonna write basically like symbols all over you, and it's gonna keep the ghosts away. But they forgot
his ears.
God damn it! So when the ghost,
it's interesting because I've actually like I've heard urban legends like this growing up, like obviously more contemporary settings and like. In like modern contexts and also in like America and stuff. But I'm like, that's interesting that this folklore has like traveled so far.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, they wake up and he doesn't have ears.
Yeah. Came and ripped him off.
But news of he also becomes rich and powerful because of this pretty much. They're like, oh, the blind earless musician? Let's get him traveling across the world.
The story kind of becomes a fable, and then this big, like, I don't know, dynasty, I guess. I don't know what the proper term for it would be, but like a lord and all of his like soldiers and like maids come in, and they all like kind of sit down, and it's kind of meant to be ambiguous, like, oh, some of these people might be ghosts, and if you play for them, you'll fall right back into their trap. And he's basically like, I must play. It's what I do.
Somebody pass me my biwa.
Yeah. So yeah. And yeah, that one's pretty good. I like it.
I like that one quite a lot. And then the fourth one is like, it's a guy, he looks in a bowl of soup or in his water and there's like a guy in there. He's like this.
Yeah, I love it because he's like in the middle of like some sort of practice at the monastery or wherever he is, and then he just kind of abruptly gets up as soon as the head guy leaves and just goes over to the tea pot and picks up one glass, looks at it, sees a face in it, and,
and literally the guy every time he's like he kind of like, it looks like a sitcom intro every time. He's like,
yeah. Ooh. And he like tosses it out and picks up another one, same face, and he like looks up in the sky and there's just like this kite with a really scary face on it, and it's just like,
what's happening?
It's so weird. But
so then he just starts, and then the guy like appears and he's like fighting the guy.
Yeah, he drinks the tea, and then later that night when a tea shows back up in his life again, the guy shows up again. He's like, what the? And the guy's like, I'm this guy, and I don't even know what he's just kind of talking.
He's just fucking around.
Yeah,
he's just a prankster.
And then he's like, well, fucking cuts him. And then he's like, disappears through a wall, and then he tries to get people to believe him, but they're like, oh, this is a joke. And then basically that guy's like, retainers come the next night, and they're like, you hurt our master real bad, but give him half a month and he'll be back for his revenge. And he's like, what? No! And then he tries to kill those guys. And then they presumably kill him and put him in a bathtub. I guess. Or I guess it's the author who gets put into the bathtub.
Yeah, it cuts and then, so you have the author get in there. Okay.
Cut to credits.
Which is, it. Like, I like it. It just doesn't...
It's a really weird
fit,
ending.
You know?
I don't know what... Because, like, I feel like this is almost the case with, like, every horror anthology I really, really like. With the exception of maybe Trick or Treat, because I think the ending to Trick or Treat is actually, like... lands pretty solidly, but, like... Creepshow has that weird fucking ending with a cockroach short that's really short and, like, weird.
And it's especially frustrating with these because, like, with things like Trick or Treat, which Trick or Treat nails it, but, like, a lot of modern horror likes to have an overall narrative framework going on. Yeah. This doesn't have that. Like, it has thematic ties. Yes. So I'm like, it doesn't need to wrap up anything. Like, you're done. You don't need to have this weird, like, almost meta ending.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Honestly, I probably would have rearranged all of these. Like, I think the opener worked. Then I probably would have done, like, the T one. And then maybe, like...
I think actually ending it on the snow one might work the best.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of thinking.
So, opener. So, black hair. T. Mm-hmm. Just get rid of T.
Yeah, honestly, I think if you got rid of the T, well, you know...
I like the T
I laughed at it and I thought it was fun, but it's like... It feels very weird compared to the rest of them. Something's tonally not fitting there. Yeah. And it's a 3-hour movie, so it could probably use with that 20-minute cut.
Yeah.
But, still, this movie was pretty fucking good, though.
Yeah, honestly, watching the first three, I'm like, I'm still riding the 10 out of 10 train! Mm. And then the fourth one really kind of brought it down a few notches for me. But I still thought it was great.
Oh, yeah.
I think you're going to give this one an 8?
Yeah. I'm real tempted to give it a 7 because I do think of the pacing thing, but it's mostly really good.
Mostly an 8. Yeah.
I kind of feel the way I feel about, like, Sweet Home. I think had it maybe twisted just a couple minor things, it could have been, like, an absolute masterpiece. Mm-hmm. But it's just falls short, but still the points where it's really high
are, like, great. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I kind of want to just rewatch the snow one again.
Yeah, no, I feel it. That one was really good. But yeah, you would give this, like, a 9?
I think I'm also at an 8 with you.
Okay. If not for that last one.
If it had just been a 3, I probably would have given it a 10.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Samurai Rebellion, which was the first one I watched out of all
This is the last one I watched.
Because I'm like, yeah, I need more some Samurai. Because I almost rewatched Harakiri again. Like, because I'm like...
I entertained the thought, but I didn't quite have enough time to, so I was like, yeah.
But spoiler... I fucking loved this movie.
Yeah, this is definitely out of the 3 my favorite.
I thought this was... I don't think I like it as much as The Human Condition or as Harakiri, but like...
Yeah, this is probably like my
third. Yeah, I'm like, this movie was awesome. Mm-hmm. And it has Tatsuya Nakadai and Toshiro Mifune as like kind of best friends, and then they turn into enemies, but like, you know, like sad enemies. Like, no, we don't want to do this.
Yeah.
Toshiro Mifune in this is just incredible. I love him in everything he does, but honestly, this one, because it's so tied to, like, him trying to pass on his legacy, but then having to defend his family still. I think this might be my favorite, like, performance from him, because it really feels layered to, like, what he's trying to do there. Mm-hmm. The guy who plays his son, the main son, not the dickhead son, he's great too. Mm-hmm. And Nakadai's great in this. I really like pretty much everything in this.
Yeah, I like everyone. I like the wife.
Yeah, I can't remember her name.
And I like the actress who plays the mother too. Like, one of those.
She's not.
I mean, her character is easy to hate, but they cast very well for it.
Yeah, I agree.
But yeah, basically the plot of this one is basically, Toshiro Mifune plays, like, what is he, like a guard of some sort? Like, he just kind of patrols the grounds. He is
I think the Blade Master? He's mostly like... So this is in an era where, like, everyone's at peace.
Pretty much.
So, like, these soldiers, like Tatsuya Nakadai and Toshiro Mifune, they're kind of useless. They're more, like, about honorifics at this point. Like, they're like, yeah, they're the greatest, you know. If we could see them in combat, it'd be insane. But they're like, we haven't killed anyone.
Yeah.
Or if we have, it's been, 30 years.
Mm-hmm. But basically, the Lord is like, hey, so is it his daughter or somebody that, like, married into his family? It was somebody who was like, what was the
Toshiro Mifune?
Not
like why he's successful, or
no? What was the wife like? What was her dynamic? I couldn't find.
The wife is the one that he married into her family.
Yes,
he took like their mantle. He's only like famous because he married into it, and that's why he didn't necessarily want his son to.
Oh, not Toshiro, the younger wife. Like, is she like the Lord's daughter?
Oh yeah, no, she's
into the Lord's family.
She married the Lord. She was his first husband, or she was his first wife.
Yeah. Okay.
And then she saw him because she's a very sympathetic character. She's great. Yeah. And she's like, I stayed with him because I didn't want any other young girls, because she was really young. I think she was 18 when she married him. But she's like, I didn't want anyone else. And then he did it anyway.
The fact, yeah.
Like, yeah. Well, and he was just like cheating on her too with young girls.
Well, yeah. And yeah, he ended up getting another one pregnant, and so he tossed her out, and he's like, because she basically attacks his new girlfriend, wife, whatever, and
trying to get her out.
So he's been trying to pawn her off on like everybody in the kingdom, but nobody wants her.
She gave him an heir. Now he doesn't need her.
Yeah. So basically,
they
Toshiro Mifune's family is like forced into like marrying off the son. The son's like willing to do it, but like there's obviously like some strong arming going on there, and some fall into line and do what your Lord tells you. But then, oh no,
the Lord dies.
Yep.
And I was literally like, yeah, and I'm like, wait, this is not good. I thought about it for 10 seconds, like,
yep. So they're basically like, okay, now she has to
leave him.
Yeah. Come back. And
at this point, she's been welcomed into the family like she was family.
Yeah.
Dominic Toretto would love this movie.
Oh, right. Yeah, no, her and the mother-in-law had some beef, but like, she got along well with the rest of them. Mm-hmm. But now that there's a fire under their ass, everyone in the family is kind of like taking different positions. But it seems like she's willing to like stick it through, because like what her and her new husband have is like a bond.
Yeah.
So, they really plant themselves. They affirm their position. They're like, no, we are not going to give her back. And then the second they leave, he looks at her and goes, maybe you should go back, which completely like shatters their relationship.
Yeah, and he has like this, and then his dad's like, what the fuck's wrong? Yeah. And he does bring it back, and he does give it his all, but those moments of weakness can destroy your relationship.
Yeah, and I think that moment played into like what ultimately ends up happening too.
This movie's so sad.
Because I think there's a lot of samurai action, but I think like the main meat of this movie and what it's trying to get at is like this woman's autonomy to like decide what she wants to do for herself, and how she has like none. Because it's like, oh, the men are gonna do this noble heroic quest for her, but it's like, does she even want that at this point? Because this fucking coward kind of showed his true colors, and maybe she doesn't want that apparently. But yeah, so Toshiro Mifune gets really high on the idea of like, oh fuck, like I need to step back up, because like my son's like the man of the family now, but he's kind of shit in the bed, so I'm gonna kind of get back into it. And he's like talking about how it's the most alive he's ever felt, and he's planning to declare war on the fucking
the whole like
system. Yeah.
And she is pretty much strong, or she's tricked by the other brother to go back to the castle, and then she's kind of stuck there, and they're like, we're gonna kill you all if you don't give me my wife back. Mm-hmm. And, the son steps up, and they're like, we're gonna go to war with them, pretty much.
Yeah.
And they do. They try to get Tetsuya Nakadai, who's, like, supposed to be the only rival swordsman to Mifune's character, to go kill him. And he's like, okay, make me a lord, or pretty much, or he's like, make me the president of the company. He pretty much says that. And they're like, no, we can't do that. And he's like, sorry, can't do that.
Yeah.
So the rules are rules. Mm-hmm. They're like, what do you mean? He's like, you better go do it then. So they send, like, 40 people there.
Yeah. But they end up having their fucking duel to fate.
But not before the soldiers siege the house and the wife and the son die in each other's arms.
Yeah. Well, the wife kind of throws herself onto one of the enemy's spears.
And one final moment of, bodily autonomy.
Yep. And then the husband goes over there and
then just gets stabbed in the back.
Yep.
It's like sad. And then Toshiro Mifune is just like going nuts. He's like, I'm gonna kill you. And he does. He kills everyone in the house, and then he takes the baby.
Yeah.
And he's like, I need to
get to Ito.
Yeah, because he's like, if I can get somewhere, like, this is illegal. Like, what they're doing here is not okay. If I can get somewhere to tell people, they'll be okay,
If only. I somehow doubt that optimism, but yes.
There's probably enough disdain for other lords to be like, fuck. And honestly, I think it would more be like a thing of being like, oh, this is an excuse to now take over this territory. Because, like, obviously you're not training your citizens, right?
Yeah, of course. I don't know. It's hard to tell because I don't know specifically about that point historically, like that specific period. But, I don't know. I imagine probably, if anything would have happened, it definitely would have not been for the actual good reasons. But, so, he ends up fighting a bunch of guys, and
then he fights Nakadai, and he's like, let me go through, and Nakadai's like, nah.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, I was so, at the beginning, the way they set it up, I'm like, they're gonna be the rebellion. They're gonna fight against all the guys. And they're like, no.
No. There was a point, like, 25% of the way through the movie where I was like, oh, they're gonna, like, team up and get everybody, and they're gonna, like, actually do, like, a legit coup or some sort. But they didn't act.
And then even when they, like, brought Nakadai in, I'm like, now he's gonna go change side. And they're like, nope. He just stays at his station. I'm like, God damn it.
Yeah. Honestly, I thought that worked, though, because, like, part of me was curious the whole time, because he kept, like, bringing it up. He's like, I know your sword technique, so I think part of me was wondering if he was, like, kind of grooming him for, like, getting him into that point where he's like, all right, I'm going to fight you, like, trying to encourage him to rebel himself, that way he had an excuse to. But, I don't know. Open to interpretation, I guess. But, yeah. Nakadai didn't stand a chance. Maybe if it was Harakiri. But, yeah. So, then, he ends up just getting overpowered by, like, the numerous amounts of people with guns who are shooting at him.
And he's still just destroying, like, half the...
Oh, yeah, no, it's a real, like, Boromir moment where it's just, like, he's getting destroyed, but he's still destroying in the time before he dies. And he goes over to the baby and is basically like, we gotta get you out of here. And then he dies. Yeah.
But the only, like, other sympathetic, like, person of their cause was this, like, midwife, or this wife, this woman that had
been given the duty of breastfeeding their child.
The child.
Mm-hmm. And, she comes up and scoops up the baby. And it's like, well, hopefully the baby has a good life with you. To be determined.
Yeah. It's pretty sad. I love this one.
Yeah, this one's really good.
It's awesome. And there's so much. I love this, like, family thing. It's like, I will not abandon her. She is our family now. And the wife, the the Toshiro Mifune's wife's like, no. It's like, too bad!
Yeah, no, it's a really interesting dynamic to try and see him, like, hang on to those core family values when it's like, it feels like his family's mostly been a sham. I mean, I'm sure he probably had, like, a bond with his son.
I mean, his son.
But, like, in terms of, like, the wife and, I mean...
I think he even said something like, I don't think I've ever, like, been in love with her.
No, he does. That's why...
I've never held any love for her, but the thing I see with you two,
yeah.
That's real. Oh, my God.
Yeah, it's nice. And he's like, yeah, I'm just kind of hoping that my son carves out, like, an easier and better existence than I did, and then to see it all just kind of crumble down.
His son die in front of him. I was like, Jesus Christ.
Yep. But yeah, this one's really good.
All because they said no after saying yes.
Yeah, being forced to say yes and then
refusing to say no.
Yeah. And it's just like, goddamn. Yeah, this one's really good. I really like this one. I think that you would give it a 9? A 10? Okay.
I think you might be at a 9.
Yeah. I think maybe the, like, actual ending resolution didn't feel like that strong to me. Like, it worked enough, but, like, I don't know. I almost wish the film kind of went a different direction, but I'm satisfied. It was good.
What the fuck are we watching this?
Well, if you're open to a suggestion, I might have one, but if it is your pick.
Sure. Well, what's your suggestion? You just talk it through.
I was thinking about, since it's kind of in a samurai mood, maybe the Samurai Trilogy.
I've been thinking about the Samurai Trilogy. I also was thinking about doing Onibaba and Kuroneko, which are two, like, Japanese, like, 60s, like,
the
ghost movies. Yeah. And I'm like, because we were watching Ghosts today, too. Samurai might work, though.
I'm down for whatever.
Let's see. I also almost picked a 1913 French cereal called Fantomas.
I don't think I've heard of that.
Van Thomas. It's kind of like the character's kind of like this almost super villain who's just like doing dastardly deeds. I think it's 45-minute like silent film episodes.
Oh, sounds like a serial.
Yeah. But apparently it's one of the big changes, like that character is the big changes between like the more gothic villains to more like modern super villains. Yeah, let's do the Samurai Trilogy though.
Okay, cool.
Samurai 1, Musashi Miyamoto. Samurai 2, Duel at Ichijoji Temple. And Samurai 3, Duel at Ganryu Island.
Yes, and this will be a good prep point for when I inevitably pick out the Book of 5 Rings for Reed Weens. Maybe. I don't know if I'll ever actually do that, but maybe. It sounds like a fun concept for an episode.
I'm so excited to see more Toshiro Mifune!
Yes! And playing probably like... I mean, I don't know a whole lot about the real life, like, Musashi Miyamoto, but, like, he seemed like a goat. Like, he seemed like a real... like, a true samurai. Because it seemed like, based off the little bits I can glean, he was, like, pretty rough, ruthless kind of, like, soldier in the beginning of his, like, life, and then he kind of, like, got more into the poetry and philosophy side of samurai and kind of stepped away from that. So I'm interested to see how that is throughout the movies.
Cool.
But, yeah.
All right, everyone.
Another exciting episode of Screen Weens has come to an end. But don't worry, you can tune in next week for more fabulous content with me and Thomas.
We'll see you next week.
Yes. Have fun, everyone.